Sober on Purpose is the podcast that takes you beyond clean to fulfilling your dreams. Other programs get you sober. We ask what's next. Come thrive with us.
Are you helping or harming your addicted loved one? It is so hard to know. I really struggle with this concept. Being a person who my love language is service, I want to do things for you, I want to connect with you, and that's how I show that I care about you when I'm helping you, when I'm serving you. It is a real struggle for me to separate helpful help from unhelpful help. Thanks for joining me on the Sober on Purpose podcast. Let's talk. Here's a quick definition of unhelpful help. It's something that somebody can do for themselves or should do for themselves, and something that they didn't want done in the first place. So if you are doing things that somebody did not want done in the first place, making appointments for them when they don't want those appointments. It could be anything from hair appointments to doctor's appointments to DMV appointments, all of those things where you're like, you need to do this, you need to take care of this. Then whose need is it really? It's yours. You need them to take care of this. Maybe you can see the downfall. Maybe you can see that if they don't get to the doctor, they won't get the medicine they need and they won't be able to take care of themselves. Where this really lies is, are you seeing this person as a full human being? Now, of course, with youngsters, with those under the age of 18, you may have some more responsibility, but especially as you get into later teens, it's no longer your responsibility. When you do this, what you're actually saying to them is, you can't, or I don't believe you are capable, or you are not, fully an adult enough to handle this for yourself. So this unhelpful, unwanted help is putting them down. It's putting them in a category and taking away some of their agency. And agency is super important when getting to a place of health. You have to know that you can shift your own health, that you can change things. And that's one of the things that folks who love people with addictive behaviors struggle with is, let me just take care of this for you. And here's the convoluted piece of that. The reason we do that is because we don't have clarity on what our own issues are. I was friends with a woman who said, yes, I make my children's lunches, 3 lunches in the morning, and I make my husband's lunch. And I said, why is your husband not making his own lunch? She didn't say it was a gift of love. It was an act that I wanted to do. It was something that really made me feel that I was caring for him. She didn't say that at all. She said, because if I don't make his lunch, then he goes out and spends $12 to $15 every day for lunch, and we can't afford that. So just look at the roll down of that. One, they're not having a discussion about their budget and what's agreeable for both of them and where they want to spend their money. And if they disagree, are they going to set up a budget so that it is available for them to do that? 2, they're not having a discussion about time management. And 3, she is taking care of it so as not to cause more harm to the family, which means she's parenting him. How many children do you want to parent in your family? When we look at unhelpful help, this is something that somebody can do for themselves. So in the lunch scenario, maybe she should be making his lunch. Maybe that's okay. Is there a trade-off for that? Is there a time sequence that's talked about? So what we're talking about here are unspoken rules. So in this lunch scenario, in the unspoken rule, she is doing this to help the whole family, right? And the unspoken rule is that if I don't do it, nobody else will, and we will get harmed because I'm not taking care of this. So when you look at the things that you are helping your loved one with, are they things that they can do for themselves? Or are they things that they don't want done in the first place? Maybe this gentleman didn't want his lunch made. Probably he would rather buy it, but he was not communicating with his wife what those reasons were and setting up boundaries and guidelines around that. That's the piece, is speaking these things out loud. When I got really frustrated with all my men, I have 2 boys and a husband, I looked at them and I said, look, I'm really tired of housekeeping. This is not something I want to continue doing. So let's have a discussion. Let's decide what's important. And then let's figure out how we're going to make that happen. The key thing for my husband was having the kitchen clean, having the kitchen so he could come in and work in it. He's a retired chef, so having the kitchen clean so he could come in and work in it when he was going to make meals. The rest of the house he didn't particularly care about. The rest of the house was no big deal. If you had a place to sit on the couch, that's great. If you had to move the dog over, not such a big deal. So we had this discussion about what was important in the family. And for my youngest son, it was having the bathrooms clean. For my oldest, it was having food in the house. So we divided up jobs in that way. And for my oldest, it was particularly important to know what food was in the house and what was available to him. So guess what? He got the job of going to the grocery store. Now, you may have children that are too young to do that, but at 16, this was a perfect job for him. He went, he picked out the food, and for all you moms out there, you know what ended? It's here to eat. I don't know what's available to eat. I don't like what we've got. Well, he had guidelines on how he could pick things at the grocery store, but now he knew. He got it. He put it away. He's the one who handled it all. It saved husband and I 2 to 3 hours a week. It was huge. So that's what came out of that discussion. And then when the kitchen, it came out that that was important to my husband. So Jerry and I maintained that together. The boys had some jobs, but we maintained that together. And then the other thing that happened was when we looked at unhelpful help and what people could do for themselves, again, we were all headed into teenage age for the boys. Everybody got put on doing their own laundry. There was no need for me to do everybody's laundry. For one of them, I didn't do it right. For the other one of them, I didn't do it in the right time. And for the other person, didn't particularly care one way or the other. So they all got put on their own laundry. I got 2 or 3 hours back in my day. So what's helpful and what's unhelpful doesn't have to be a negative. It can also be something that you look at and decide as a family of what's important. These are huge steps. So here's your exercise for today. Write down a list of places that you help and then you get frustrated. Now, for me, I also made a boundary. Remember, boundaries are only things you can control. A boundary of where I could control what was going on. And one of those was, I will help you make an appointment. Husband, sons, father, whoever, I will help you make an appointment. But if you miss the appointment or don't make the appointment for whatever reason, you don't call and you don't change it, but you are inconsiderate and rude with the people that I have made the appointment for, dentist, hair, barber, doctor, whoever, if that happens, then I will no longer make appointments for you. So that was a huge shift. I will do it once, and then you lose the privilege. Then it got to where they said, oh, well, I don't know that I'm going to be able to make that. I'm going to have to shift it. I said, well, that's fine. Here's the phone number. All of these folks are capable of taking care of themselves. Now, you may have littles, and this is not possible for, but with littles, you also have control over what happens when. So what I want you to do is make a list of the places that you're helping and that you are frustrated. Not make a list of every place that you help, but where you are frustrated. And then look at it with these 2 questions. Is this something somebody can do for themselves? Is this something they don't want done in the first place? Now, with the addictive loved one, you may say, but they need to go to X. Then we drop back into, how do you make this go right? Do you make them breakfast in the morning so they're up? Do you make sure that there's gas in the car so they can get there? How do you make this go right without taking it over? Each situation is a little different, and it takes a little practice to work through this. There's another option. Join us in the Rise Above Facebook group and we'll talk it through, or get on a Let's Get to Know You call and let's talk through this issue particularly, because this will change everything. Like I said, by putting them on their own laundry schedule, by looking at what was important in the house and what was not important in the house, I got close to 9 hours back in my week. It was enormous, and I am so thankful for it. So thank you for sticking around. We have so much more content. If you want the download that goes with this so you can work it out, we have a quiz and a scale and all the things that go with it. If you want the download so you can work all this out, that is available at Tanya, Gioia, TanyaGioia.com, and also available on the Facebook group, Facebook community, Rise Above Addiction. Looking forward to seeing you in both places, and trust God, clean house, and tell the truth.
You, beloved listener, are creative, resourceful, and whole. Do you want to add more purpose to your sober journey? Do you want to make room for the new and make your dreams a reality? Apply today for a dream session. Go to TanyaGioia.com. That's TanyaGioia.com and apply today. Let's get you dreaming about your new purpose.